Welcome back to Inside Eastern Athletics. I'm Dom Conti alongside Jack Petrucci. And Jack, we just had a nice conversation about last season's sports. So now let's look ahead to this year, okay? So this fall season is already underway. Got a lot of teams, a lot of expectations. What are your rankings for these fall teams as far as expectations to go far in their conference?
Well, as far as like a Little East Conference championship run, 5-1, I'm going to go with field hockey. Last year, and this is another thing that kind of went under the radar, Alex Kallgren broke the all-time goals record for field hockey. Replacing her, I think is going to be a little tough. However, I do think if Stephanie Hogan, and Kiara Valentine step up, but that's why I kind of have them at 5. For women's volleyball, I do think they have a lot of talent, but I still think they're young. We talked about that sophomore class. It's really, really strong.
That's right.
Stern, Notholt, and Elytra Long, and also we got Meg Verizzi, we got Anna Berry. Young, great talent, but I still think a little young.
Okay.
3, I'm going to go with women's soccer. This is a team that's made the Little East Conference Championship game 2 years in a row, that they've actually hosted here against cross-state rival Western Connecticut. I think that, first of all, this season, playing that close of a game against Brandeis, number 13 in the country, where they lost 1-0, that's a really, really good sign. Also in goal, senior Kayla Lebrecht, I think she wants it. Like I said, she's been here twice, hosting it 2 times. I think she wants it. I think she's going to really, really want it. And I think also Allie Clark is senior, Hannah Goodale, you throw all those in there, they're really, really going to want it. Women's cross country, as you said, Dom, last year, a historic thing they did. First time that Keene State didn't win it, I think it was 17 years.
Yeah,
Haley
17.
Knox, I think we talked about she's going to be unbelievable. Leadership standpoint goes, she's going to be great for this team. Another thing about her, she got to learn under Cassandra Banks last year, who Cassandra Banks finished second in Little East Conference race. Also freshman year, or her sophomore year, 2 years ago, Mariah McPhee, who again has been cross country wise, broke so many records, track and field as well. She got to learn under her. And again, reigning Little East Conference champions, they got the momentum. But number 1, I'm going to have men's soccer. What we've seen so far, I think the atmosphere they have is unbelievable. The win against Trinity, that's the first time they beat them in 11 years, Tom. Going for them. And also Ryan Murphy, we've talked about him so much on the call already. Leadership-wise, unbelievable. I have men's soccer number 1.
So now you're giving girls cross country the respect, putting them number 2?
Never discredited.
Appreciate it.
Never discredited.
Okay. So as far as my rankings go, Jack, I'm going to give you mine. So starting at number 5, I also have field hockey sitting at number 5. Now, they struggled in their first 2 games this season. They lost 6-1 against Springfield. They lost 5-0 against Wesleyan. But their last game against UMass Dartmouth, I was really impressed by. They beat them 5-1, and I expect a lot out of them. Even though they're number 5 on my list, I expect them to have a good season. I expect them to go into the playoffs. I expect them to make the playoffs. I expect them to go far. Number 4, I have girls cross country. A little hypocritical of me, but let me explain. They've got Sam McCoskey, Haley Knox, Rachel Ozak, and Amanda Terenzi, returning from last season. You mentioned Cassandra Banks. They did lose their first meet this season. However, Sam McCoskey did not race. Okay, she was unavailable to race that game. So for that reason, I have them 4. But just like field hockey, I expect a lot out of them. Number 3, I have women's soccer. Just like you, women's soccer. They're 3-2 right now, but all 3 of their wins have been shutout victories. Huge credit to Kayla Lebrecht for that. They lost 1-0. One of their losses, 1-0 against Brandeis. Number 13th team in the nation. Held them to 1 goal.
Right.
Okay, that really impressed me. That jumped them all the way up to 3 on my list. Number 2, volleyball. Now, you mentioned they're young. You mentioned that's why you have them at 4, because they're young. I expect a lot out of them. They played so well, that the 3 of Abby Stern, Elytra Long, all of them, yes, they were freshmen last year and they're still young, but I expect so much out of them. They played so well last season, carried that team, and there's so much depth around them. They're in my number 2. Number 1, just like you, men's soccer. 4-0 right now. Their first conference game is tomorrow. We're recording this on Friday the 14th. So tomorrow they're playing at Keene State. For their first conference game, they're outscoring their opponents 16-5. They're my number 1.
We just had a huge conversation about the women's cross country team. And
that was about
you have them at 4.
That was
There's
about
5
making
teams.
history. That was about making history
okay.
last season. Okay, doesn't mean I don't expect them to do it again.
But you have them 4th. Okay, so you have them 4th.
Yeah, because I'm expecting men's soccer and volleyball and women's soccer. I love what I see out of them. Jack, all 5 of these teams, in my opinion, are making the playoffs. Okay,
I agree.
So as far as rankings go, I'm not really stressing on it too much. Okay, this is
Oh, so it's no problem. They're
mean-
gonna do it regardless.
they're all going to do very well. Yeah, and I expect that. Girls cross country especially. What did I say? 17 years?
17 years?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, 17
Have,
years.
I, have I
Okay,
said
yeah.
that enough this
You
show
have
so
said that
far?
enough. So why are they number 4 on your list?
Because, Jack, just because they won it all last season means A, they're in my top 5 because of that. And
I
B,
would hope so.
Yeah. What, you think I'm not going to put them in my top 5?
Okay, no, continue.
You think I'm not going to put them in my top 5?
Continue.
Can I talk now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. They're 4 because of that. They lost Cassandra Banks, okay? And you mentioned that she has great leadership. Yeah, shout out to Cassandra. Great leadership. Haley Knox, Sam McCoskey, expect huge things out of them. They're captains on this team, okay? Big reason I didn't put them higher, they lost their first meet, okay? I know McCoskey wasn't racing, but they did lose their first meet, okay? And that's all we have to go off of them this season so far. For that reason, they're 4, okay? Is that all right? And volleyball, you put volleyball at 4. Why did you put volleyball at 4?
First of all, I think, in particular, Abby Stern is one of the most talented fall athletes we have.
Okay.
But it's just the youth down. They had a really good game against Southern Maine in the quarterfinal, was last year. I think this team has tremendous potential. But like I said, with the freshman class they have now, and we talked about the sophomore class, as the years start to go on, I'm not saying they're not going to make a legitimate run. I think they're very, very talented. I just think as far as going deep, once next, like I said, I'm not saying they're not going to do well, but once next year comes around, they all have another year under their belt. I think they're very good. I'm just shamed, absolutely shamed.
3 of their 4 wins, clean sweeps for volleyball, okay?
Yeah, I know that.
You call it potential. I think they're ready right now. Okay, so we're going to move on now. Our next part of this segment is going to be, we just did top 5 teams.
Right.
Now let's move, Jack, to top 5 players, okay?
Oh.
Top 5 fall athletes
Okay.
for this season. What do you have?
All right, so I'm going to go 5 to 1, and
Okay.
this is a girl we just touched on. Number 5, I'm putting Abby Stern. And as I just said, she is no doubt, in my mind, one of the more talented fall athletes that we have. I'm not saying that, but I think that she has so much help around her, which she does. Where
Right.
maybe she doesn't have to go out and perform 100% every time
Okay.
because she has so much help around her. We've talked about it so much already. The help that she has, that sophomore class, that freshman class, even the seniors. We have Carly Balskis, we have Leah Stopneski in there. There's so many things that we could do around her. But like I said, I'm not taking away from the fact that I think she's one of, if not the most talented fall athlete that we have. But that's my reason at number 5. Number 4, we have Kayla Lebrecht. Like I said, she's been here and she's been in Lily's conference championship twice so far. We've seen the outcome that we have. She's hungry. She wants this. We've obviously talked about the shutouts that she had so far. And very impressively, we talked about the Brandeis game, number 13 in the country, 1-0. I have her at 4. Number 3, I'm going to put Kiara Valentine for field hockey. I talked about before Alex Colgren, who's the all-time leader in scoring in field hockey. But last year, actually, Valentine led the team in points with 24 and goals with 11. So we've seen what she's done already. I think she's going to bring a lot to the table this season for the field hockey team. Number 2, back to women's cross country, I'm putting Haley Knox. She's, I think leadership-wise, is going to complement this team so well. I talked about already, she learned from Cassandra Banks. She saw what Mariah McPhee did. Last year in the Lewis Conference meet down, she placed 9th. That was second for Eastern, as we keep talking about, behind Cassandra Banks. Both leadership for what she does running-wise and what she does motivating-wise for a captain. I think she's going to be awesome. And Lewis Conference, obviously champion. And number 1, I'm going to take Ryan Murphy. There is not more vocally and a better motivator on the field and athletically than Ryan Murphy, and I have number 1.
Okay. So I'm going to give you my 5 real quick, then I'm going to talk about your 5.
Okay.
So number 5 for me, Kayla Lebrecht. All right.
Fair.
Similar to you. She's one of the leaders on this team, the goalie, obviously. The only reason I don't have her higher is because she kind of splits time in the net, Erin Collins gets almost half the game on certain occasions, I mean, we haven't seen, them play in conference yet, so we'll see if that changes. But to this point, she's kind of split time. So for that reason, I have her at 5, but she's still on my list. Number 4, I have Abby Stern, 1 spot ahead of you. And I think, as you said before, you said potential, and I'm going to say again, she's ready now, okay?
Yeah, okay.
She is one of the best players, in this school as far as talent goes.
Yes,
and you said that yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you kind of like what you said, she's got a lot of talent around her. I could have put her higher on this list, but very similar to you, I think because of that, depth that this team has, I'm going to put her at 4. Number 3, I have Sam McCoskey. We're back to girls cross country again. Okay.
Yeah.
You put Haley Knox.
Yeah.
I put Sam McCoskey. Now, I have an anonymous cross country source of mine
Oh, wow.
who told
now
me
we got
that
this. Okay.
when Sam McCoskey runs, they win.
Okay.
That
That's
was his
fair.
quote. And like
so
I
he-
said, she did not race in their first meet of the season, and they did not win.
I need one of these. I need an anonymous
So
source to bring
to
on the
this
show.
to this point, I have to go with the fact that when she races, they win. So
Okay.
she's my number 3. Number 2, I have a field hockey player, Stephanie Hogan. Okay, you had, I believe, Kiara Valentine.
Yeah, yeah.
As far as field hockey goes, I have Hogan simply because not only can she do what Valentine does on the offensive end, she does it on the defensive end as well. She's a vocal leader. She's one of the, seniors on this team. Okay, excuse me. And as far as goal scoring goes, in that first conference game against UMass Dartmouth, she had 2 goals.
Very impressive.
Okay, so she could do it all, and she's my number 2. And number 1, we agreed. What else can you say about Ryan Murphy?
Absolutely.
Senior goalie. So that's my top 5.
So we do agree on that?
We agree on
We do
Ryan
agree on that.
Murphy, yeah.
Okay, I think for cross country, first of all, Sam Mikowski and what she did last year, I believe she broke one of the records for Eastern indoor track.
Yeah.
So, which is great. I just think from a leadership standpoint, and I ran cross country in high school.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So you're an expert in this.
No, okay, sure. But I think
Interesting.
leadership-wise, if you look at Haley Knox, yes, you have to go out there and perform, but being a leader, both what you do, obviously on the cross-country course, but also how you motivate your team, that's such a huge thing. And that really goes for any sport. And that's why, and being in the race last year and she placing 9th, that's top 10, that's what I think is the leadership and the captain position that she holds. That's why I kind of put her ahead of Sam Mikowski there. But I'm not taking away Sam Mikowski. We've seen what she did was unbelievable.
I mean, when she races, they win. Yeah.
From anonymous source 1.
Look,
whatever you
I
said.
could drop his name, but he wanted to remain anonymous.
Okay, so we'll leave that.
But no, Jack, I have to put Sam McCoskey there because she's one of the you keep mentioning leadership. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
We both mentioned that a lot on
Yeah.
this show. We could both admit that. And as someone that was on the team last year, raced in the conference race last year, she finished, I believe, 12th or 13th,
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah, yeah.
So she's been here before. She knows what she's doing. And I believe she can do all the leadership qualities that Haley Knox can. What else do we disagree on? Oh, Abby Stern, you had her at 5. Why didn't you put her higher?
Well, and I said this before. We have both talked about how she is flat out one of the best athletes and the best player at her sport, maybe in this fall season. But like I said, Dom, she was the 2017 Little East Conference Rookie of the Year last year, and a great performance. But like I said, she has so much around her where she necessarily doesn't have to perform like that all the time,
Okay.
and for the team to be successful.
That was my reason for not putting her higher, but I do believe she deserves to be at number 4. Like I said, Kayla Lebrecht, she hasn't played as much. She splits the time. I don't know if they just want Aaron Collins to get ready for next season when Lebrecht is not there anymore, and it's going to be on Aaron Collins to run the show. But just for that reason, I think Abby Stern deserves to be above Kayla Lebrecht.
Fair enough, fair enough. All right, Dom, so staying on the fall segment part of this.
Yep.
So far, we've seen a couple games that we've hosted here. Your top 3 plays so far.
This has
Okay.
been tough, Jack, but you want me to go 3-1? I think I'll
Sure.
go 3-1.
Yeah, that's
So
perfect.
number 3 to start was against Gordon College. Okay, Patrick Egerman took the cross and had an unbelievable header for a goal. We're going to show the play right now, and that was just unbelievable. Watching that game, I believe you were on call for that. I was not on call for
No,
that
it was
game.
Jesse Barco.
Jesse Barco was on
Yeah,
call for that game. That's correct. Shout out to
There
Jesse
you
behind
go.
the camera right now.
Chris Pagano in color.
Yes, that's
go
right.
ahead,
But yes, that goal was unbelievable. Set the whole, stadium on fire. Everybody in the stands went nuts, and they've had such energy around them all season. You've been talking about that already.
Yeah.
It just set the place on fire. Number 2 on my list, we're gonna go back to that UMass Dartmouth game for field
Yeah.
hockey. Okay, 5-0 was the score, and Sydney Hogan, the sophomore.
Yeah.
Okay, her first career goal was off a deflection right in front of the net, an unbelievable backhanded scoop shot over the goalie's right shoulder into the top left corner of the net.
That's 2 for you?
Yes, that's number 2 for me.
Continue.
Okay, I will continue. Number 1 on my list, I'm going to go back to Patrick Egerman. This time, another header, but this time we're going to go a little deeper. Double overtime. Trinity College, at the turf, under the lights, game-winning header off the cross from Jackson Treelweiler. I
First time in 11
I don't think
years.
you could argue with that, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
I
going
don't
to
think
keep
so.
Adrian's goal against Gordon at 3. I'm going to put the game-winning one against Trinidad too. If you're going to watch this on the replay, okay? When Sydney Hogan scores, do you know who's the first person that goes over and hugs her to congratulate her on her first collegiate goal?
Yeah,
her
sister.
older
Yeah,
sister,
her
Stephanie
older
Hogan.
sister. Okay.
Okay, so besides Jackson and Will Toomey, I don't know if there's a lot of other sibling duos that we have here or in general. How often does that happen? That you not only playing on the same team at the same college as your sibling, but the first goal that goes in your collegiate career and your older sister comes over, gives you a big hug. Like, that's a moment you'll never forget. I get a game winner, but that is unheard of. That doesn't happen.
Was it double overtime?
Doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
So because her sister was on the field at the same time makes it a better play? Jack, we're
Yes,
talking about
yes,
a
it does.
double overtime thriller. This game was back and forth all the way through, okay? It took them 2 overtimes. First overtime was scoreless, back and forth, okay? Double overtime, Jackson Trierweiler on the right side, crosses it to the center, Patrick Egeman right there.
Do you have a younger brother?
Heads
You
it
do.
in.
You do have a younger brother.
do.
I have a younger brother too that
Yeah.
goes there.
Yeah.
If we're on the same field with each other, and you got to share your first brother's goal. Let's say we'll keep it soccer. You were on the field. Would that not give you such happiness in your family?
You should have said this for your best moment, okay? That was a beautiful moment. That was a great moment. Was it the
Okay.
best play? I don't think so.
But that best play makes it the best moment. The best moment makes it the best play.
I don't think so. I think you're kind of confusing this, Jack.
No.
I think we're going to need
That makes
we
it
need
the
to go
best
through the
play.
rundown again.
That makes it the best play.
Jack, the best moment, that came after the play, though. You're talking about something that happened after the goal was already scored.
Was that goal impressive? I thought
Of
it was
course it
pretty
was impressive.
Yeah,
I have it
I
on my
did too.
list. Number
Yeah, I
2.
know. So
Number
it was
2.
impressive.
I never said it wasn't. You know what was more impressive? A double overtime header.
Sibling sharing that moment is unforgettable.
All right, well, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one. We're going to move on to the next segment. We're going to take a quick break beforehand. When we come back, we're going to have a segment, baseball and lacrosse. A couple new faces there.